Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time here. So I'm doing a twin flame soulmate reading, and for those of you who are new, I used to do these readings bi-weekly. Well, actually I think I used to do them weekly, and I stopped doing them so often because I just didn't want to be a distraction when it comes to your spiritual growth and evolution, because that is the basis of this journey, you know, spiritually evolving, healing, and things of that sort. And sometimes these readings can be a bit of a distraction, but at the same time they're a very useful tool because you can get a lot of clarity when it comes to your path through these readings. So there's nothing wrong with watching these types of readings. Just be mindful not to overindulge or to watch them so much to the point where it's causing you confusion, or it's distracting you from, you know, doing your work, your spiritual or healing work. So I meditated on your energy before I pull cards for you. So I have a few messages that came through. So I was hearing two things: final decisions and heaven on earth. When it comes to final decisions, that's pretty self-explanatory. Some of you are coming to a point where you know you have to make a final decision about this connection or about this journey that you're on, and it doesn't have to be final decision as in, okay, I'm making the decision to cut this person off completely and not look back. Like, it's not that type of final decision. It's like making a decision on how you're going to approach the connection overall. Like, let's say that you have been trying a certain method when it comes to this connection and you see it's not working, so maybe you're going to try something new. Like, for example, if you were trying to maintain a friendship with this person and it was causing you a lot of it was still causing some friction between you two, you know, you could think, okay, maybe a friendship isn't gonna work, maybe we need to separate and do our healing work without the friendship, you know. And that's just an example that I'm giving, but it'll be different for everyone. So it could be a final decision as in cutting ties, but I think more so it's a final decision as in the method that I've been using or the thought pattern or the habits that I've had in relation to this connection are not working for me any longer, and I need to make a decision to try something different. Another example would be like if you've been very fixated on the connection to the point where it's acting as somewhat of a distraction, or that it's just really draining you or making you very sad or depressed. You could be saying, okay, I'm making a final decision to try something different, to maybe focus my attention elsewhere, to make sure that I'm prioritizing my mental health and that I am focused on my happiness and well-being, rather than fixating on something that as of right now is not in my control and isn't making me happy. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm hearing is that some of you are a bit confused in terms of surrendering, meaning that some of you are wondering if you should just give this situation up altogether, and you're just kind of wondering if you should just cut ties altogether. Of course, you have to do what's best for you, but from what I'm hearing, a better approach would be to kind of give it to the universe instead of saying like, okay, I'm closing this door for good, like this is done for good, and making it like so, you know, final. For some of you, first of all, that's going to cause you major anxiety, especially for those of you who have abandonment wounds. The thought of like closing the door on someone that we're still attached to, it can cause your abandonment wounds to flare up, and it can cause you to become very anxious. And next thing you know, you could be feeling like you want to reach out to them. And that's definitely happened to me before because, excuse me, I struggle with abandonment wounds as well. And I noticed that when I try to put like a final ending on something, it just causes my wounds to flare up and my mind goes into a frenzy. And I'm not saying that because you have abandonment wounds you can never close the door on someone completely, but you have to take it, you have to just have a different approach, because you have to just think of things differently when you have certain wounding, you know. So a person who doesn't have an abandonment wound, they're fine with the thought of closing a door forever and they can just move on and be stable. For people with our wounding, no, like thinking, oh yeah, this is final, that can actually cause our bodies to panic and then actually try to reach out to the person. So what I like to do instead is to just say, okay, I'm giving it to the universe. You know, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. It's for my highest good. And the universe is going to provide me with whatever is for my highest good, you know, and that's a little bit more soothing. So you're still letting it go. You know what I'm saying? You're not holding on to it completely, but at the same time, you're not causing your abandonment wounds to flare up by trying to put that final nail in the coffin. See what I'm saying? And as you start to trust the universe, or say like, you know, I'm giving this to the universe, or I'm giving it to God, that's when you can slowly but surely move forward. Just remember that when it comes to this connection, a lot of the times when you're triggered, your inner child is the one that's triggered. Your inner child is the one that's hurt. So if just think of it as, how would you talk to a child? If a child's parents were leaving, would you sit down and say, okay, listen, child, your parents are never coming back? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it would cause the child to panic, and it's traumatizing, you know? But sitting down with the child and being like, okay, listen, I'm going to take care of you for the time being. Don't worry. You know, like trying to soothe the child and make it's like that. Like, you have to treat your inner child like that. You have to talk to your inner child like that. So just be mindful of that, you know? What else? Oh, heaven on earth, the second message. Okay. So I have a video on my channel, a video called, I think it's called Why You Feel Empty. I believe it's on this channel, on the tarot channel. And in that video, I discuss that before we are born, we are obviously in the spiritual realm, right? And our essence, our overall vibration while we're in that realm is love. Like, we're on the frequency of love. We're in a higher realm, right? So we come to earth through our mother, and our mother is supposed to be a substitute for that love that we came from. You know, that's why people say a mother's love, like there's nothing like a mother's love. Mothers love you unconditionally, things of that sort. Unfortunately, sometimes mothers don't love you unconditionally for whatever reason. They could be traumatized, or they could have their own issues. And for some of us, we came from that love, you know, while we were in that spiritual realm, and then we were born pretty much into hell. And I don't want to sound dramatic, but if you have a mother that's not capable of loving you or nurturing you for whatever reason, that's pretty much hell, because you're leaving a higher dimension and you are coming into this earth, which is a very dense place already. The vibration on earth is very dense. There's a lot of trauma that takes place here. So it's already a shock to the system to come here from that higher realm. But then on top of that, the person who's supposed to act as that unconditional love for you is not giving it to you. So yeah, you're born into hell, sort of. A consciousness, from a state of consciousness. I mean, like not an actual place, but y'all see what I mean. The vibration or the consciousness of hell pretty much is recreated when you don't have a mother who nurtures you, right? So as we grow up, we experience that feeling of not being loved, not being accepted, not being given that unconditional validation and love. And we then get into relationships that, again, reinforce that don't love us unconditionally, that treats us badly, takes advantage of us. We meet narcissists, you know, we get cheated on, like all of that shit, right? We make friends with people who stab us in the back, and it's like trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma. So like, you're just, you know, you're going deeper and deeper into hell with every trauma that you experience. And again, I hope that's not coming off as too dramatic or harsh, because I'm talking about hell as a state of mind or as a feeling. 1 second. Okay, so like I was saying, trauma on trauma on trauma, right? We're going deeper into hell with every trauma, okay? Then we meet this soulmate / twin flame, and we experience this blissful feeling, the complete opposite of the hell that we have been experiencing, right? So naturally, we're going to cling to this person. This person feels like heaven because this person is heaven. Now, let me explain. What I was channeling intuitively is that this person, the feeling that this person gives you, is the same feeling you had before you were born onto this earth. So when you were in that spiritual realm, there's a feeling, there's an essence that you were made of. And this person, the feeling that you felt with this person is that exact feeling. And that's why they feel like home. Trippy, right? I know. It makes so much sense when you think about it. So basically, this person has pulled you out of hell. Unknowingly, not even purposely. And that's why it can be very, very difficult to let them go, right? Because then who wants to go back to hell? Not me. So what I'm hearing intuitively is that this person was meant to spark that feeling in you, to feel like home to you. But where people lose their way is when they start thinking, okay, my main goal now is to be back with this person because they made me feel like home. They made me feel that love. They made me feel like I was back home in the spiritual realm, in heaven, right? So I need to get them back. But from what I'm hearing intuitively is that that's not the right way to go about it. And that's why so many people face like just a lot of pain on this journey when they're trying to get that prize of recreating that feeling like it was in the beginning, when really this person was meant to show you or help you experience that feeling in order to motivate you to remove those layers of trauma. Because remember, we already come from that feeling. We're made up of that feeling. The only reason that we don't feel it anymore is because of the trauma that has been piled on top. So in reality, if you think about it, if you were to remove that whole pile of trauma, you would get back to your core essence. You would get back to that love, which is what you experience with this person. You see, so some people take the route of, okay, yes, I need to go and chase after this person, which actually that serves a purpose as well, because usually when we're in the chasing mode, that's when we really get to see the issues that we have surrounding abandonment and surrounding rejection. And if we did not experience that, how would we know what trauma to clear out? You see, so it's like these traumatic energies piled up within us, and this other person, one, helps us to experience heaven again, and two, helps us to see what's blocking us from experiencing heaven. Because to think about it, usually the separation that takes place is a result of triggering and trauma. So look at it this way: triggering and trauma has been stacked on top of you to remove you from the love that naturally you are comprised of. And because that's happening within you, it's also happening externally with this person. So they're moving away. Why? Because of the triggering and the trauma, you see? So things that happen internally are happening externally as well. Things that are happening in the spiritual realm are happening in this realm as well. You see? So this person is really a projection of everything that's going on internally. It's like God or the universe is just giving you a physical representation of what's happening within you in terms of your trauma, the triggering, and things that need to be healed in order for you to reach that state of bliss and heaven and love that we came from, right? And healing those traumas and reaching that state of love and bliss doesn't just benefit us. That this is not a selfish journey. It benefits the whole planet, because every time we heal our triggers or heal our trauma and raise our vibration, it causes a ripple effect that affects the entire planet. It raises the vibrational frequency of this planet. And if you think about it too, if you want to think about it like physically instead of just spiritually, just think about when you're happy and you're in a good mood. You walk outside and you smile, right? You're smiling, you smile at a stranger. That smile could brighten up their day, or you give them a compliment and it brightens up their day, you see? So in the spiritual sense, in the energetic sense, it helps the planet. But even physically, you can see how someone being happy and being free of their trauma and their pain can really help other people. It surely does help their children, you know? When a parent is healed of their trauma and their pain, it helps their children, because then they can raise happy, healthy children, and then the cycle continues, you see? If a teacher is happy and healed, they can be like a mentor to their students or help their students out of very difficult situations, you know, like those teachers who, you know, kind of serve as like a second parent to kids who maybe aren't getting that love at home. You see what I'm saying? So this healing journey doesn't just affect you. It affects the whole planet. And that's why it's so important. And that's why it's so intense. And that's why you're constantly being advised to focus on your healing work. This is a very important mission. This is a very important mission. Trying to see what else. I think that's it for that message. But yeah, heaven on earth. You have the ability to create it because you are heaven. It's your natural essence. It's where you come from. And you have the ability to create it here. There's just a pile of traumatic bullshit on top. And as you know, heal and remove the trauma that's burying you, you'll return back to that feeling of peace and bliss. And you're going to experience this in this lifetime. Like, this isn't one of those things where, you know, I know that for a lot of you who have been through a lot of traumatic things, and like the first half of your life could have been very horrible, the next half of your life is going to be blissful. I know it may be hard to believe. You can't even picture it because you struggled so much. Trust me, because you're on this journey and because you have met this person, that means that you are on this path towards healing, and inevitably you are going to end up clearing all of that trauma out, and you are going to end up extremely happy, blissful, at peace while you're here on earth. And that's going to benefit not only you, but your entire family and anyone else you come in contact with. All right. So let's dive into the cards. I know that was a very long intro. So first two cards out, postponement card and the miser card in the reverse. Okay. So it looks like some of you are on the right path, because what I'm seeing is that you're right in between that feeling of clinging and holding on. What am I hearing? Sorry, the message just got jumbled. I'm hearing you're right in between. Okay, you're in between two extremes. For some of you, there's this extreme of being completely cold and detached, and then there's this extreme of clinging and just wanting to hold on very tightly to someone. And some of you are just hitting that sweet spot right in the middle. Like, you're not completely cold or closed off towards this person or in this connection, but you're not, it's like slowly but surely you're not clinging, or you're starting to let go of kind of like codependent clinging energy. For what I'm hearing, for advice for some of you, is that you're needing to brighten up your life, is what I'm hearing. It's going to help you to be more balanced. It's going to help you to remove any excess codependent energy that could still be lingering, because like I said, for a lot of us, our lives were very empty and miserable before we met this person, and so naturally when they leave, it's like a big void, you know. And so the advice that I'm seeing is that for a lot of you, brightening up your life in some way could be very beneficial to you. That could be physically, like your environment, like adding colorful decorations to your room, or going to museums and looking at art, like that raises your vibration. It's like you're needing to be around beautiful things or around colorful things, and that's going to help to lift your mood. For those of you who are artists or you create, that's something that you could really focus on right now. That will help you to kind of cope with that feeling of missing or longing, you know. And creation is also something that is a highly spiritual process. Just think about it. Like when you think about, let's say you're a painter and you see the painting in your mind before you actually create it. That's a very spiritual process. It starts off in the astral realm, or it starts out in your thoughts, and then you physically bring it into reality, but it starts in your thoughts. Highly spiritual process, and you are connected with your higher self whenever you are engaged in any creative activities. So that will also help you to slowly but surely break free from that codependent energy as well, you see. Because remember, your desire to be back with this person is your desire to experience heaven again, your desire to experience that higher realm. So think about it. If creativity comes from the higher realm, every time you take part in creativity, you are connected to that higher realm, and it helps you to miss that person a little less. You see what I'm saying? Or it helps you to kind of not long for them as much, because the energy that you're getting from creating is a very similar energy that you are getting when you are with them, right? Let's see if there's anything else for those cards. No, I think that's it. So the next two cards, celebration and completion. Yeah, so some of you are definitely feeling very positive. I think that some of you have made a lot of it's like you've made a lot of progress, is what I'm hearing, and you should be celebrating that. Like, if you have not celebrated your progress, you need to go ahead and do that. As you reflect back on this year, even if it was very difficult, even if it was a very painful year, you survived it. So that in itself is a reason to celebrate. But for a lot of you, you've made a lot of important strides when it comes to your journey. Even if you feel like you haven't, you definitely have, and you are being applauded on the other side in the spiritual realm. Your spiritual team, your guides, your ancestors are definitely, without a doubt, applauding you and very proud of you for the progress that you have made. Yeah, let me pull one more. With the completion card being here, it's like some of you are, I'm just hearing that you're having a breakthrough, and if you're not having it right now, you're very close to having one. Guidance. Laziness, yep. So the laziness card is here in reverse along with guidance. Some of you have definitely been doing your spiritual work without a doubt. Even if you don't feel like you have, like even you just doing research and becoming more aware or self-aware of the things that have been weighing on you psychologically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, even doing that is a step that you should be proud of, because most people don't. Like that, and that's something that people on this journey don't do enough of, is to reflect on the fact that a lot of people don't do this. A lot of people don't watch tarot readings in order to better themselves, or book tarot readings to better themselves, or try to heal. This is not easy work, and it's not something that you were forced to do. This is something that you are actively choosing to put your energy and effort into healing, you know? So that in itself should be applauded, because this is not anything that's easy. But yeah, some of you are definitely having a breakthrough, or you're going to have some sort of breakthrough for sure. If you are a little bit confused, I'm hearing that help is on the way, guidance is on the way. And guidance can come in many forms. It could be this video that's helping you to become less confused. You know, it could just, guidance could come in all different forms. Like let's say you just keep hearing a certain song on the radio, and you look up the lyrics, and they could have like the answer to whatever has been weighing on you or bothering you, you see? So we have the laziness card in reverse and the friendliness card in reverse as well. So what I'm hearing is that a lot of you are also at a point where you are evaluating the connections in your life, not just with your twin flame or soulmate, but with people overall. And it looks like you are just really wanting people who are willing to put in the emotional labor that you are, you know, because when you're on this journey and you're trying to heal, like I said, this is not for the faint of heart. This is not something that is easy to do. And so when we are on this path, the last thing we want is to continue to hold on to people who they themselves refuse to change, they refuse to grow, they refuse to heal, and they're like holding you back because of their lack of progress or because they are emotionally lazy. So for example, let's say that you have friends that, you know, you make sure that you are mindful of the way you treat them, right? You make sure that you are putting their feelings above anything else, like you're being very selfless towards them, like a real friend should, you know, taking them into consideration. And whenever you don't, or whenever you are like in that mode where you just want to be alone, you don't want to speak, you're still making sure that, okay, I need to reach out and tell them this and make sure that they don't think I'm just ghosting them, you know? And that's a part of your healing, like I said, because for a lot of people, they don't do that. That takes a level of emotional intelligence to say, hey, I'm not ghosting, I need time, you know, I need space. And this is just an example. So it doesn't have to be exactly this. This is just an example. But like I said, let's say that you are being very mindful of their feelings. You know, you're expressing emotional intelligence by letting it be known whenever you have to distance yourself. But these same friends don't give you that courtesy. You know, they'll just straight up disappear, or they'll do something very selfish and then they won't apologize for it, or they won't. It's like they won't treat you the way that you treat them because you're actually doing the work. You're actually doing the emotional work within. And as you do the emotional work, you become a better friend, you know, but they are not doing the emotional work, and you'll really start to see like, wow, these are not good friends. And again, this is just an example of what could happen in terms of your spiritual growth. This could happen at a job, you know, a job could have been a perfect fit for you. And as you're doing this healing work, you're starting to see more and more that it's no longer a fit, that you have kind of evolved above it, and you're just not, you're not happy with what goes on at this job anymore. It doesn't make you feel good. See what I'm saying? So a lot of you, as you heal, you're seeing certain areas of your life that just don't fit anymore. And you're kind of reflecting on what's benefiting your life at the moment and what's causing more stress than anything else. And that doesn't mean you have to necessarily just cut ties like, oh, this person is, this friend of mine that I've had for 10 years, you know, we're not on the same page and they're toxic, so I'm just gonna cut ties. Like, I know that that is preached a lot online. And of course, use your discernment. If you have to cut ties, then go ahead and do that. But I think that it's important to have the discussion. And I think it's important to, you know, if it's necessary, distance yourself, you know. Maybe they need some distance in order for them to evolve in some way, and then, you know, you'll be able to have a healthier connection with them later on. But I just don't advocate for completely and totally just being like, nope, you're done, cut. Some people, that's necessary, but just make sure you don't take it to the extreme, because that's also something that takes place in our healing journey, is that before we could have been holding on to people too much and giving them too many chances. And when we start this healing journey, we swing to the opposite extreme of like, oh, I'm cutting you off. Like, as soon as I see one thing, you're gone. And just be careful with that, because also that's a reflection of judging yourself harshly as well. Because when we're on this healing journey, we can kind of turn ourselves into like a project, and we're trying to reach this level of perfection that is not obtainable. And so the inability to forgive, or the inability to give people second chances, is a reflection of your inability to forgive yourself and the perfection that you are expecting within yourself. You know, so just be mindful of that. There's a sweet spot in the middle of knowing when to distance yourself, knowing when to have the conversation versus just, you know, cutting someone off cold. Because just because people preach that online, or say like, if you had self-respect, this is what you would do. You would just completely cut ties. Like, there is a gray area, so everything doesn't have to be so black and white, you know? So participation card is here, and the existence card is here. So a lot of you definitely are looking for your tribe, because a lot of friendship energy is showing up in this reading. So a lot of you are definitely looking for your tribe. Especially if you're in separation with this person, or with your counterpart, your twin flame, soulmate. You could be looking for your tribe, because again, Your soul tribe definitely will help to raise your frequency. Your soul tribe will also help you to feel at home. So it makes sense that you will be, you know, searching for the soul tribe now as you start to see that certain connections no longer fit. Let me pull one more. Yeah, like once you experience a deep connection, like a soul, like a divine partner, twin flame, it's very hard to maintain like mediocre surface level, you know, sort of connections. So that's usually when people do start seeking out their soul tribe and people who can understand them on a deeper level. Yeah, so some of you are definitely seeking that out. I'm gonna pull one more. Yeah, for what I'm seeing, there's a need for you to, because I keep on getting the message that you're lacking patience. No, sorry. Well, that could be it too. But you're lacking passion in your life. And so what you want is for you to find your own passion, but also to connect with your soul tribe who has passions of their own, you know? So if you've been connected with people who maybe haven't found their passion yet, you know, no judgment towards those people. That's fine. But for you, it looks like you are on this path of needing that passion in your life. So you may be seeking out your own passion, and then also through that passion that you're seeking, you could meet your soul tribe who also has things that they're passionate about, you know? There's nothing better than like talking to someone, having a conversation with someone about the thing that they're passionate about, you know? Like if you meet like a musician and then they're talking about their music, like the intensity that you feel from it, or like the gleam or like the spark in their eyes, like when they talk about it, like there's nothing better than that. And you're really connecting with somebody on a deep soul level when that happens, because when people are in touch with their passions, they're in touch with their soul, and that's when you can really form like a very strong bond with them. Let me pull one more. But yeah, but some of you also with the intensity and the slowing down card, you are wanting to take a break from those very explosive types of connections you've had, which I completely understand. So you're wanting, like, you know, you're wanting to connect to people who have a passion, and you want to connect to your passion, but you're staying away from like those explosive interactions that you may have had in the past. Like you meet someone and you feel these crazy fireworks, and then you go through like this crazy connection with them, and it burns out really quickly, and you're on a high, and next thing you know, you're on a low. Yeah, some of you are like, yeah, no, that has to stay in the past. And if you're not thinking that, this is what you're being advised. This is advice for you, that those type of connections are no longer going to fit into your life either, because they're just too, those type of explosive connections can be very draining. Like, yes, they teach us a lot about ourselves, but they're draining. Like when you hit that low, they're draining. And for a lot of you with your twin flame or soulmate, that the intensity that you felt with them, it's like that is the intensity that caused you to say, okay, no, I have to slow this down, you know, because it's like, first off, you're not going to get anything more intense than your twin flame or divine partner connection, you know, but your connection with them really helps you to see that maybe you need to, like, maybe you need to rest or recuperate because of the amount of intensity, especially because before them, you could have had those same, you know, types of relationships that started really quickly and passionately and then burned out, and it took you a while to recover. So it's kind of like when you met them, that was like the ultimate explosion that then caused you to be like, okay, it's time for me to calm down. I don't want any more dramatic, over the top connections. Like, can I just have some peaceful connections, you know, with people who understand me, with my soul tribe, you know? So it's like you're seeking that out, which is a good thing, because you're needing to rest and recuperate. The last thing you need is any more like really intense, dramatic sort of interaction. So peaceful interactions with people who have a passion for life, so that the connection isn't, you know, boring, is what I'm seeing. I'll pull one more. Yeah, some of you, well, with the flowering card being here, that means that you're definitely experiencing a lot of growth. You're breaking out of your shell. Some of you are having the urge to break free from your comfort zone, and I highly recommend that you follow that urge. So yeah, it's kind of like you've been in your comfort zone for a while, and this could be in different areas of life. Like this could be you've been in comfort zone in terms of your career, or maybe your social life. Like you've been in your comfort zone and you're just having this overwhelming urge to like break out of your shell. But for some of you, you're just nervous about it, which is normal. Excuse me, which is normal. Because the Fool card being here in the reverse, it's a very normal energy of, we like to stay where we're comfortable, but then our soul sometimes pulls us in this direction where we're very uncomfortable. And so we can't ignore that urge or that pull, but at the same time, we're like very much afraid but there's a need for you to take that leap of faith and to push through that fear. It's going to do wonders for your self-esteem. Trust me. If you feel like an overwhelming fear and you do it anyway, your self-esteem is going to skyrocket. Trust me. Trust me. And when I say, like, I don't mean just jumping into anything just haphazardly and just, you know, taking reckless risks. I'm talking about things like, I've been wanting to start this business and I've just been scared to. And now I'm going to sit down, write this business plan out, and I'm going to get it done. Those type of risks. Like when you have that fear and that resistance and you push through them, the reward is just extremely great. First of all, the universe rewards you for having the courage to follow your intuition. But then also you get rewarded internally because it definitely raises your self-esteem and raises your confidence. Some of you have gifts that you're not sharing and you're needing to share them immediately, is what I'm hearing. You're needing to push through them and share them. You have been given these gifts for a reason. You have a spiritual mission. You have a spiritual purpose. You're needing to share them. And that's why some of you feel really, like I said before, kind of dull, like your life seems kind of like lackluster and dull. That's because you're not sharing the spiritual gifts that you were given, and you're needing to share them. And spiritual gifts doesn't just have to be, it doesn't have to be like, oh, you're a tarot reader. A spiritual gift could be like, you have the ability to draw, so maybe you need to draw more or sell your drawings or things of that sort. It could really be anything. It could really be anything. A spiritual gift can be like, you are a good communicator, so you want to start doing public speaking, or you want to, you know, things like that. So whatever gift that you have, it has been granted to you from a higher power, and it's necessary for you to use it, especially using it to help people in some way, shape, or form, and using it to help heal yourself as well. And that's going to be very beneficial to you. That's going to actually shift your energy and pull you out of this funk that you've been in. With the Thunderbolt card being here, though, some of you are experiencing resistance because of something that happened that was very traumatic for you. Something that happened that really knocked you off your square is what I'm hearing. It was something that really shook you up. It was very unexpected, and it definitely did a number on your self-esteem, and it's spilling over into you not sharing your gifts. So this could have been like a really bad relationship in the past, and you learned something about this person, like a betrayal or something that really, really bothered you or like really hurt you, and it really caused your self-esteem to take a hit, and that spills over into all areas of your life. So now, because your self-esteem has been hit, or maybe because this person made you happy and then, you know, they were just snatched out of your life, now it's like you're afraid to even go towards, you know, your goals or using your spiritual gifts, because first off, you're afraid of being happy again, you know, and reaching success, because you feel like it's going to be snatched from you, just like this situation was. But also because your self-esteem, like there's been a blow to your self-esteem. It's hard to create and put yourself out there and use your spiritual gifts when you feel like your self-esteem has taken such a blow. But what I'm seeing is that pushing through this fear is actually going to help with that. It's going to help with that. Even though it's going to feel very uncomfortable, it's going to be a bit, you know, it's not going to be comfortable at all. There's going to be a lot of fear involved. But if you're able to push through that fear, it will actually help to kind of transmute that energy and heal you from that situation that took place. With the possibilities card being here in the reverse and the We Are the World card, yeah, some of you are needing to definitely be more optimistic as well. Whatever that past situation was, it definitely took, it just really changed the way that you see the world, and you have just become very pessimistic, not really expecting good things, not expecting much. That could be a result of PTSD. I don't know if some of you have experienced PTSD from that situation, or just it's something that really greatly emotionally impacted you to the point where it shifted your whole view of the world, and you're just feeling very, very pessimistic, and just not able to see anything good for the future, not able to visualize good things for the future. But that situation, it's like your mind is playing tricks on you because of that situation. You actually have a lot of possibilities that are open for you. There's a very bright light ahead of you, or a very bright life ahead of you, I should say. And I do understand, though, like it's hard to see that when you're in this very depressive or very fearful state because of something that someone else, you know, caused, like someone who hurt you caused you to feel that way. But you're being asked to try your best to be optimistic, to change those thought patterns. Saying positive affirmations would be very helpful for you. But overall, the thing that's going to be most helpful for you is action. Taking that, you feeling that fear and pushing past it anyway is going to be very, very beneficial and helpful to you, is what I'm seeing. All right, let's see this other person's energy. We have the integration card, the source card in reverse, and we have the trust card in reverse. So this is your twin flame or divine counterpart. Let me clarify these. With the integration card coming out first for them, they are feeling imbalanced still. If they've had any imbalances while you were in connection with them, for some of you, I'm hearing that you're still in, like you still have a connection, like you still speak to them, or you still have some sort of contact with them. You'll see it's obvious that they still have an imbalance. But for those of you who aren't in connection, or that you're in separation, it may not be as obvious, but there's still an imbalance within them. Let me pull one more. Yeah, there's still an imbalance within them, but they definitely are, oh, okay. They definitely are growing, because the mature man card is here. They are making some sort of progress. They have experienced some sort of setback. They've experienced some sort of setback. What does that mean? Let me pull one more. Thief card. They experienced a setback. What is this setback? Creator. Okay, it was divine intervention. Okay. Yeah, it was divine intervention. They created some sort of setback that may look like a bad thing to them, or it was very painful to them in some way, but it was divine intervention for sure, because the creator card is here, morality card. So it was like a setback that was orchestrated by the universe to teach them some sort of lesson, or to correct their path. Like they could have been swaying off of their path, and the universe comes in and causes something to happen that pushes them back onto their path. So they may have felt like they were set back, but actually they were set forward, is what I'm hearing. I'm gonna pull one more. Some lesson was definitely taught to them that they needed. I don't think this is anything too severe, because the despair card is here, meaning that it might have been very painful for them, but it was a learning experience, and it's not something that is going to traumatize or scar them. It's like a learning experience that is beneficial to them, even though it could have been painful. I'm gonna pull one more. Yeah, it was something that was lost. I'm not sure what it is. This is general, so it's going to be different for everyone. They lost something in their life. But again, it's not something that is going to scar them psychologically. You know, it's something that it's like they experienced it. They learned the lesson from it. Yep. Burden in reverse. Yeah. They experienced it. They learned the lesson from it. And now they're moving forward. But it made enough of an impact on them that they learned from it. But they're still trying to gain their footing. They're still trying to move forward and rebalance themselves. So let's see, source card here. So there is some sort of depressive energy that I'm feeling from them. I'm hearing that they don't want to be connected with their emotions at the moment. Let me pull one more. Success in reverse. Yeah, they don't want to be connected with their emotions in the moment. They feel like the more they are connected to their emotions, the more misfortune happens. But really, that's not the case. Like they just see their emotions as like like the main problem that they have, which it really isn't. It's the shame surrounding their emotions that's the problem. The way they shame themselves for having feelings is what the problem is. They think their feelings are the problem, but it's not. It's the way they handle their feelings, or the way they think about their feelings. So they see their feelings as like a burden that's getting in their way, that's inconvenient. And ultimately, that means that they're rejecting themselves, you know, and they're rejecting that connection to a higher power, because we create, we connect to source, or to that higher power, through our heart space and through our emotional body. So them not wanting to have feelings at all, or them just seeing their feelings as an inconvenience, it really does cause them to almost like disconnect from that higher power. I mean, we can never disconnect from source completely, but it causes them to feel that distance from source. And as we all know, the further you get away from source, the more you spiral down into that hellish, you know, energy, the devil energy. Not literally, but y'all know what I mean. So it's like they are shaming themselves for having emotions. They're cutting their emotions off, or trying to, and that's working against them, and they don't know it, because the feelings are not the problem. It's the way they feel about the feelings that's the problem. Let me pull one more. And because this person mirrors you, because you are connected to them spiritually, whatever messages you're hearing from them, there could be some I mean, the messages in this reading, there could be some that apply to you as well. So just kind of take whatever resonates from their end as well. Sometimes the lessons that they're learning could directly apply to you because you are connected to them energetically and spiritually. Yeah, see, they are really neglecting their inner child, and they don't know it, because again, it's like they're not understanding that their emotions, these overwhelming emotions that they can have sometimes, are their inner child. They belong to their inner child. So when they reject their emotions, they're rejecting their inner child ultimately, which would in turn, of course, make them feel very depressed. They think the emotions are making them feel depressed, but really it's the rejection of the emotions that's making them feel very depressed. You know, so it's kind of like, oh, if I could just get rid of these feelings, these negative feelings, I would be fine. But really it should be, if I could just accept and validate these negative feelings and give myself compassion, I will be fine. But they don't, it's like they're not seeing that, or they're not getting that yet. Let me pull one more. Yeah, they're in solitude right now, trying to, you know, recuperate. Trying to recover from whatever took place. But it's like, while they're in solitude, they're not having any awareness, or they're not, it's like the self-awareness still isn't there. It hasn't hit them yet. For some of you, like, you could have been in solitude, you went through the dark night of the soul, and that's where you found the most self-awareness. You know, that's when you started watching tarot videos, or when you started doing research on spirituality. Within your solitude, you did that. But when they're in solitude, they're just trying to focus on how to get rid of their emotions. They're still not self-aware, or still not seeing seeing the healing that needs to be done in order. Yeah. Nothingness card. Yeah, they're not seeing the healing that needs to be done in order for them to feel better, or to raise their frequency. They're just focused on trying to isolate themselves and trying to dull their emotions, or numb their emotions as much as they can. But the more they do this, the more empty they feel, and the more they spiral. It's like a cycle that will keep continuing until they realize the healing work that needs to be done. With the trust card being here in the reverse, they definitely are feeling some sort of paranoia. Let me pull one more. Oh, harmony in reverse. Yeah, they're feeling, yeah, they feel most at peace when they are closed off and not trusting. Okay, they feel like people can't be trusted. There's like like I said, a paranoia here, and in their mind, they're safer when they're alone. And they're safer when they have that guard up and they're not trusting anyone. In the past, whenever they took that leap of faith and just, you know, trusted people, it never has worked out well for them at all. And for some of you, you can relate. Like I said, this person, you're going to share some similar wounding. But yeah, they've taken a leap of faith in the past, like really taken a leap. A big leap, a huge leap, a leap that they should not have taken. Because this was like a leap that was like, if you would have just waited a little longer and and got to know the situation first, they would have never invested. It was like a naive energy, and not in a bad way. This could have been when they were really young, you know, like when we're like a teenager and we do like really, really outrageous, you know, stupid things. Like we take these huge risks because as a teenager, we think we're indestructible. It's like that sort of thing, a risk that was so big that the impact of it was catastrophic. And since then, it's like, no, I'm good. There's not going to be any more risks. You know, I'm not about to just trust anybody. You know, like the bigger the risk that you take and the more harsh the consequences of that risk is, the more likely you are to shut your heart off completely. So if you are someone who is healthy, like emotionally healthy, I guess you could say, and you take risks, but you take calculated risks, like, yeah, you'll take a risk in terms of like opening up a little bit and dating someone, you know, that's a risk. That's kind of a risk, but you're not going to get hurt that much from that sort of risk. You see? So you could take those small risks over and over and still feel like, okay, you know, I still want to date. That didn't work out, but I still will. But when you take like a huge risk and you like jump completely off of the cliff, and then that person isn't there to catch you, and you get hurt severely, then you're more likely to completely shut down. And it looks like this person feels like they can only be in harmony or at peace when they are not emotionally invested, or when they're not 100% trusting someone, which in turn means that they can't make any real connections with someone, which in turn is making them feel very depressed because they don't have that true connection with anyone, because that wall is up, that guard is up. But it's like they just want to be in control. And if you don't trust anyone If you don't let them in, then you're always in control, because then they have no effect on you at all. So yeah, I mean, they're able to keep the wrong people out, but they're also keeping the right people out. So I mean, is it really worth it? Pull one more. And the solution to this would be to find a balance of setting boundaries to the point where you know that you're not going to let the wrong people in, but you know that there's enough room for the right people to get in. And it's like this person doesn't see that, because like I said, they're blinded by the risk that they took that was too big, that really harmed them. And now it's like, yeah, it's like the being that scarred by that situation, they see any risk as too big of a risk now. You see? It's like if you are younger and you get bit by a dog, right? And let's say it was a big dog that you got bit by. Now you're afraid of dogs, and you're afraid of all dogs. So it doesn't matter if it's a tiny little dog compared to the one that bit you. It's like, no, it's still a dog. So it's like that. Like, they don't want to take every risk is too big of a risk. You see? Let me pull one more. Yep, and it's blocking them from happiness. It's blocking them from feeling truly fulfilled. And the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, is trying to show them. It's trying to show them this. It's trying to reveal to them that this is their blockage. This is why they're not happy in life. This wall, this guard, it's keeping everyone out. It's not allowing them to fully connect with other people, nor is it allowing them to connect to their heart, which in turn is not allowing them to connect to that higher power, to source. So I'm hearing that you're the closest person they've gotten to that connection, to making that full connection. You're the closest person that's gotten to that, is what I'm hearing. It's like the universe is trying to show them how good it could be for them to let that guard down and let people in. They got a glimpse of it with you. Yep, that's what I'm hearing. They got a glimpse of it with you, and they can't unfeel that. They can't unsee that, you know? They got a glimpse of how good it could be, which is terrifying to them, is what I'm hearing. But they can't unsee it. So that's the role that you played in their life, is showing them how good it could be to put that wall down. All right, so I'm going to extend this, as always. I'm going to pull more cards for this person and for you. See if any more spiritual messages come through, and I will leave the link to that to my Vimeo channel in the description box down below. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you over on Vimeo. Bye.